Morning, TJ. Thanks for the time. Saturday afternoon or post game after the game, you mentioned how specifically Isaiah and Gabe have kind of done a great job of leading you since the summer. I'm just curious, has that been mostly on court, kind of how they've represented themselves in the program, or some off court leadership, and how that's kind of evolved throughout the highs and lows of the season?
When you recruit guys, especially older guys that are on transfer, you want to know what their goals are, what their aspirations are, and then you want to clearly define for them, if that's what they hope to accomplish and do, how they need to work every single day to do that, to set an example and not only do what they need to do for themselves, but impact others. Both of those guys, first of all, on the court, have a very workmanlike way of doing things. They come every single day, they practice hard, they do different things well, and have different strengths, but they lead through their actions. Off the court, they're very responsible, they're mature, they do the right thing when it comes to the classroom, the community, their teammates. They have great character. So to me, if you look across the country or every team I can think of, when your best players are great guys and great workers, that usually paves the way to have success. And we're fortunate that both of those guys have backed up what they said in the recruiting process. Is they wanted more responsibility and they would step up, and on the court, off the court, and in the classroom, they've done it. And so we're going to continue to hold them to that high standard that they've established for our entire group in our program.
Thank you.
Randy Peterson, go ahead.
Excuse me. Good morning, sir. At what point did NCAA tournament become on your radar?
Yeah, I don't even know how to answer that, because to me, I really am somebody who just stays in the moment of what we've got in front of us. There's a reason I'm not on social media and I don't scroll the internet or any of that stuff, because I don't see how that impacts our ability to be successful. Certainly, as we had success, I'd get a question here or there. So it's, something that others certainly have on their mind. I would say more than anything, I don't know how to answer it, to be honest. I don't know what a time was. There's not a time that I thought about it and said, hey, this is what we can do or what we need to do. I would say more than anything, it's just wanting our guys to continue to get better, to play the best they can. And, regardless, obviously we're competitive, want to win every game, but proud of what we've accomplished up to this point, and hopefully we can continue to get better and play our best basketball. I think it's still in front of us. And if that happens, there's going to be opportunities in the postseason. So,
TJ, is it concerning is probably not the right word, but what are your thoughts about the fans? That's essentially all they're talking about right now. Your fans. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't really have any thoughts. I mean,
Okay.
I know that Iowa State fans care and want Iowa State to be successful. That's why I wanted to be the head coach here. That's why this is the opportunity for me. That's, a dream opportunity, the place I want to coach more than at any level or anywhere in the world. So I love that part about Iowa State. And at the same time, I can assure you, as much as they want to win, nobody wants to win more than our players, our coaches, our support staff, and the people that are making the choices and sacrifices to do the extra hard work every single day. So that's great. I mean, we're excited that our fan base cares. And at the same time, it doesn't impact anything that we do. We have our process. We're going to stay dedicated to it and continue to challenge our young men to uplift the standards in this program.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you.
Matt Bellinson, unmute yourself and go ahead.
TJ, last time you faced West Virginia, I think you guys missed about 10 free throws. And just looking at the stats here, it looks like you guys are right around, 253rd in the country in free throw percentage. I guess, obviously, the key is to make those shots. I mean, how, from your vantage point, how do you get the guys to be more effective at the free throw line?
It's like everything. It's the work and the time that you put in, and then it's trusting that work and having that confidence in the moment. I really don't think it's any more than that. I mean, I think our guys understand how much I believe in them, and I'll always believe in guys that do the extra and put in the extra work. So if you want to perform better in big moments, then you need to work harder when nobody's watching. And I believe our guys are doing that. And if they continue to do that, they'll be, rewarded with successes accordingly.
It seems like the last couple of games, Gabe has kind of had a, maybe just from my vantage point, a different role in this offense. He's taking a little bit less threes than we were seeing, at the start of conference plays, kind of getting to the basket a little bit more. Is that something you're consciously telling him to change, or is that just something that he's, had to kind of adjust on the fly here?
Well, Gabe's earning and proving and working to have more impact on our offense. And so he's done that through some point guard play, helping facilitate offense, make plays. We've utilized him at times to try to post up and a way where he can get a catch on the interior and make a play. He's a terrific cutter. Last game drew 7 fouls just on cutting alone. And so that really helps us establish a physicality with our offense. So it's more, I think for me as a coach, continuing to expand the job we're asking him to do based on him continuing to do the work. And so he's the guy that impacts our team. We've talked about it a ton defensively, everything he does. And I'm excited to keep seeing him expand his offense because he's got a swagger to him and he's doing a lot of impactful things to help us win.
You mentioned there how he drew 7 fouls. And, obviously he's kind of your leader on this team in doing that, but, Aljaz and, Trey at times are no secret to doing that. I guess, is that something that you just can consciously teach them, or is that just something innate in terms of, how hard they, practice defense? And is that just something that they kind of have in them, the ability to draw those fouls?
Well, I think, for our guys offensively, we want physicality, which for us a lot of times means aggressive cutting and catching the ball in the scoring area, more specifically even at the elbows with our frontline guys. So to me, that cutting with physicality and force, the way the rules are, it's supposed to be, freedom of movement when you cut, and our guys do a good job moving. They're very effort-based, enthusiastic, energy guys. So when we cut hard, we get to the line. And as you mentioned, Jazz has had some games where he's done a great job with that as well. So I think more than anything, it's about doing the things that we can to be a team that can be aggressive and physical and, offensively where we can dictate some things. And I think those guys that you mentioned, they've done a really good job with that.
Thank you.
Jared Stansberry, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away.
Hey, Coach, what's the biggest thing that you want to see change for your team from the first game against West Virginia?
The outcome, and I'd say to change the outcome, we can't do things to hurt ourselves. I mean, we started down, it went turnover three, and before you know it, we're down 18-5, and really we're never in the game. So we can't do things to put ourselves at a deficit. We've got to dictate offense and dictate defense. And down in Morgantown, that didn't happen. So to dictate the defense, we've got to be pressuring the basketball and forcing them to dribble under duress and make plays at a speed that's faster than they're used to and generate turnovers. Offensively, we've got to cut hard. We got to snap passes. We got to eliminate turnovers, especially live ball ones. So I think both of those areas will, if we do our job, it'll help lead us to being successful. And right now we're telling our guys just focus on winning that next possession, and that whether that's offensively or defensively. And that was something that we didn't do a very good job in Morgantown, and probably was, as poor of a game as we've played.
Go ahead, Randy.
TJ, during your earlier stints at Iowa State, West Virginia was playing among the best defense of anybody in the country, if I recall some of that right. I mean, the pressing from end to end. Are any of the defensive principles that you guys use, or the philosophy or thought, is anything borrowed from West Virginia in the fact that, okay, they were successful doing that, pressuring way back when, and we, meaning you, thinking can be effective doing it now?
Well, certainly when West Virginia came in the league, they had a very physical way of playing, and the games seemed to be higher in fouls. They seemed to last longer. But it was a very aggressive rebounding physicality, a very aggressive full court pressure. They had a lot of depth and a toughness to them. And they were really hard to play against, or they are really hard to play against night in and night out, because that relentless nature, that physicality, they wear you down. And so if you were to say, have we built our system based on that? I'd say, what we've done overall is we've studied the league and studied, the history, and then looked recently, why have teams been successful and why have new programs been successful? And really what it boils down to is the defense and toughness is something that if you can build that the right way, that you can find ways to make up for maybe things that you don't have as much. And so we've tried to look at other teams that have done that, West Virginia being one of them for sure, and say, how can we quickly make our program better with integrity and pride and character and all those things. And obviously defending, being relentless, flying around, having more depth. Those are things that have been proven to enact winning in this league, and things we'll continue to embrace.
Thanks, TJ. See you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right, we have time for 2 more questions for Coach. James Powell, go ahead.
Morning, TJ. Tyrese Hunter just reached 50 steals in the last game against Oklahoma. Is that something you anticipated being such a big part of his game when he came to Iowa State, or is that just another way that he's grown and developed since he started?
Well, he's got anticipation instincts, which are hard to teach. I mean, he's able to read plays when he's on the backside, and felt like he could be effective that way. And then if you look at how we guard, trying to keep the ball on outer third of the court and forcing people to dribble and play at a faster speed, it caused them to throw passes under duress, which, whether it's a defensive back or a safety in football, oftentimes he's what we call the spy, where he's reading those passing lanes and trying to make a play. So felt like he's had those instincts. He's certainly understanding our defensive concepts more with every day. And I believe, becoming more just better at reading plays and utilizing those instincts to generate turnovers for our defense.
Thank you.
And we'll finish with Rob Gray. Rob, go ahead.
Hi, TJ. Just wanted to ask about the Oklahoma game. As you broke it down on video after, obviously you guys shot lights out, 20-point win, 21-point win. But are there some things you've identified in breaking that game down that, need to be a little bit better as you face the last 4 regular season games?
Well, certainly. I mean, if you just look at, we got off to a slow start, and then we had the stretch in the second half where we just weren't as intentional. We allowed them to cut the game to 5, I think 53-48, have a, kind of get back in striking distance. So more than the technical piece, I'd say, let's get off to a great start. Let's be very intentional. Let's dictate, which is something that we can do. If we're fortunate enough to be in position where we're up, let's still be the aggressive team. Let's not settle into the game. Let's be who we are. Let's do what we do. Let's not try to get into a back and forth scoring match. Let's continue to, to defend like crazy and pressure the ball and then dictate, and then that lead to offense for us. And so even when we went on that run late of 15-0 or whatever it was, it's great that we made shots. Certainly that's part of it, but the rhythm of that game was dictated by our defense, by our ball pressure, by getting stops, by getting turnovers, and that allows guys to have the confidence to play in that open court. So more than anything, what we need to do is every single possession have that intent, and again, one possession at a time, win the next possession, and then stack those up. And if we can take anything from the Oklahoma game, it was when we did that, we had a lot of success. When we didn't, we allowed them the opportunity to be back in the game.
Gotcha. Thanks, TJ.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your time today, Coach.
Thank you.